consume the ghosts, the man asserted that the tactic wouldn't work, startling him. The man introduced himself as Lai Ida, mockingly referring to Tae-Sung as a schoolboy. Lee promised that if Tae-Sung survived their encounter, they would meet again. Lee's doppelgangers made an obscene gesture before vanishing, causing Jang-sun to question where Lee was going. Suddenly, a bright light struck Jang-sung's face, and a man emerged from a totem pole. He praised Tae-Sung's bravery in combat skills and vowed that his power would serve Jang-sun. Meanwhile, in a luxurious house, Fancy shut the lid on a coffin, promising to cover it with a blanket. The house had been destroyed, she explained, so they would have to stay there, and it was time for Tae-Sung to join them. She grabbed her coat, deciding it was adequate. She ordered a creature named Jeogugu to consume the coffin. Deogli, a creature from Korean folklore known for its largemouth, devoured the case. Suddenly, she couldn't feel General Aju's soul and speculated if it could be another general at play, summoning a ghost. Due to her ill feeling, she acknowledged the need for haste and encouraged Steele to proceed. She also urged Sung to persevere somehow. Meanwhile, in school, Jackson walked closer to Tae-Sung while saying, Shinji Imjin and Jeongdan. Shinjin is the 38th out of the 60 zodiac signs, and it was a year of the white ox. Imjin is the 29th, and it was the year of the black dragon. And lastly, Jonghyun is the 27th, and it was the year of the white tiger. Jang-sung told him that it was a god's day at noon. A god is born, and he wanted to see it to the end, but it was too bad because he'll die by his hands. Now Tae-Sung sensed Jang-sung's immense power, far surpassing the previous clown, and realized he was not in a position to confront him. Abruptly, a totem pole struck him, sending him crashing onto a set of stairs. Despite the pain in one of his arms, Tae-Sung managed to sit up. He realized he had narrowly blocked the attack with the aid of a flash of hope. He was grateful that the incident resulted only in an injured arm. However, looking at Jang-sung, he knew the situation was perilous. Jang-sung explained that he had hoped to wait until noon to absorb the full power of a god, but Sung's unexpected growth and the imminent arrival of Fancy required to change range of plans. Jang-sun proposed that if Sung surrendered, he would spare him the pain, but Sung defiantly responded by challenging and dashing away. He teased Jang-sun that running was a more suitable option than confronting him. However, Sung failed to notice an approaching totem. The totem summoned ghosts that struck him hard in the stomach, causing him to crunch over in pain. He wondered why the flash of hope hadn't responded. Jang-sung approached, explaining that his flash of hope might have saved him if it had developed further, but the outcome would have been the same. His power was the absorption of human souls, and the soul he held was his partner General Ajibang's soul. With this revelation, he presented his complete transformation into the formidable General Ajibang. He was surprised to see the complete form of the great General Jang-sung in front of him. Feeling Audrey's pain and sadness, Jang soon sympathized, assuming Adu must be mourning. Jang-sun promised his partner that their long-held dreams would be realized. However, Tae-Sung spat on his face. In defiance, Jang-sun was taken aback and angered, but Tae-Sung merely laughed, complaining about the information overload. He requested Jang-sun to condense his speech into 3 lines. Enraged, Jang soon grasped the totem pole and agreed to the 3-line summary, promising to defeat Tae-Sung. Jang-sun attacked Tae-Sung, but Tae-Sung urged himself to act quickly, but as Jang-sun's attack neared his body, failed to move, and he was hit. Jang-sung sidestepped and landed another punch, causing his opponent to cough up blood. He swung again, even though his foe was still in midair, driving him down to the ground. During his descent, he envisioned his younger self back in middle school when he first joined the student council. He questioned his past decisions. Why had he become a member of the student council? Then he remembered his disdain for bullies. He had thought that he could legally suppress them and in the process earn some money. Reflecting on his hatred for bullies, he realized it stemmed from his interactions with Kyung-sun, who had tormented him relentlessly back in elementary school. After his mother had abandoned him, Kyung-sun had seized every opportunity to tease him. It infuriated him, but more than the teasing, he couldn't bear the fact that his Mother had left him overwhelmed by anger and sadness. He often found himself crying however the day he retaliated. Against Kyungsun was a turning point. It was his first act of violence. He fought back fiercely, and upon hearing Kyungsun's apology, he felt an unusual sense of relief. In the midst of the current fight, Jang-sun's continued onslaught brought him back to reality. Despite the countless hits he'd taken, he couldn't recall why they were fighting. In the first place, the dizziness was disorienting him. Tae-Sung hoisted him up, commenting that his strength had turned into a poison. He wanted to end the fight quickly, but his opponent couldn't even stand. Tae-Sung expressed his discomfort with the one-sided violence and reassured his adversary that it was his destiny and karma. Without a pause, he dealt another punch, sending him flying into a wall. Hearing the word karma, he realized that violence had become an easy expression of his emotions and a tool for his survival. He agreed violence was his karma. He knew that he had been fighting to live a decent life, to lead a respectable existence. Despite trying his best, he understood inherent risk of his dangerous lifestyle and the inevitable fall that awaited him. He was also aware that eventually his life would hit an unscalable wall. He found it incredibly difficult to accumulate 100 million won. Exhausted from the endless fights and the struggle to survive, he wished for an end. Suddenly, a voice called out to him. It was his middle school self. Bewildered, he stared at his younger image, questioning if he was hallucinating. His middle school self chided him for laying on the ground while they were supposed to be fighting for 100 million won. However, he dismissively told his younger self to keep quiet, expressing his belief that he couldn't win. His younger self reminded him of his decision to live well without their mother and questioned where the confident Tae-Sung had gone. He responded that he was never strong. He only pretended to be, as he didn't want to appear inferior to anyone else. He also admitted that he was someone who used to protest against violence. Reflecting on the day he found violence refreshing, he remembered feeling good. Despite his tears, he confessed that his strong exterior was merely a pretense, and he harbored deep regrets over his past decisions. If he had money or a normal family, he wouldn't be fighting at that moment, wouldn't have to pretend to be strong, and wouldn't have to resort to violence to survive. If his mother hadn't abandoned him, or if he hadn't been born, his mother would have been happier. Maybe it was time to give up. Suddenly, his younger self punched him in the face, instructing him to stop wallowing in self-pity and pull himself together. His younger self reminded him that it was too early to give up, and he shouldn't accept his death so easily. He questioned his younger self, confused by the harsh words. However, his younger self placed a hand on his shoulder and asked him to listen. He wasn't encouraging him to live, but to make a choice. Suddenly, he found himself standing in front of his old apartment door, a vivid flashback. Recognizing his childhood home, he saw his crying mother beside his younger self. It was the moment just before his mother abandoned him. A memory he hadn't witnessed. His mother held something shiny, which she carefully inserted into him. Apologizing, she tearfully explained that this was all she could give him. If she stayed with him, he wouldn't live long. He had to survive on his own. His younger self clarified that he couldn't live with their mother, and she had left to save him. Instead, she had left him a phantasmagoria. Now it was time for him to choose. His younger self had shown him the truth, but whether it would shatter him or motivate him to fight was up to him. Suddenly realizing that his body housed a phantasmagoria his mother had given him, he pondered its significance. Then a voice suggested that he should have told her because she hadn't known. Confused, he asked who it was. It was his mother. She looked at him, calling him a ghostman, then corrected herself and called him Tae-Sung. He was taken aback. He asked if she could see him, to which she replied that she could see a projection of him from the future. His mother remarked how much he had grown and asked if he was doing well and if he was healthy. Overcome with anger, he asked how she could assume he was doing well after she had abandoned him. As he spoke, he noticed that his body was starting to fade. His mother expressed regretted his imminent departure and her joy at seeing him grown up. He tried to express his feelings, but she reassured him that they would meet again if it was meant to be, urging him not to cry. With determination, he told her to wait and watch him survive and live more confidently without her, his mother cried, promising to see him again. In the midst of the ongoing fight, he caught Tae-Sung's punch with one hand, surprising both of them. A moment ago, he had been at death's door, but now he was displaying unusual strength. He asked his mother if she was all right, if she was seeing something, if something was wrong. His mother, looking back with tears in her eyes, told the young him that she saw a donkey by well. Guys, that's the end of the video. If you like this video, comment part 2 in the comments section. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and like the video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time again.